The Bangalore Air Show in India is underway, with Russia's Su-57 and the United States F-35 both attending. Yes, the Indian military's order is very attractive. This is a wealthy country that is willing to spend several times the price of the F-35 to purchase Rafale fighter jets. But the Indians obviously don't want to put all their hopes abroad, and they also launched a full-size model of their fifth-generation fighter AMCA during the air show, which is a big step forward. After all, the small models of the Indian military before, China's Taobao, Pinduoduo, and other e-commerce platform small enterprises, can be made at a very low price. But this full-size model, general manufacturers really dare not rashly produce. There is no way to transport it. Therefore, the development progress of India's fifth-generation fighter has finally surpassed that of Chinese toy manufacturers. What can be confirmed at present is that the J-35 has entered the mass production stage and will definitely be delivered to the Chinese military first. The Air Force and Naval Aviation are waiting for various models of the J-35. But Pakistan has also confirmed that it will become the second country to be equipped with the J-35, which highlights Pakistan's special quasi-alliance relationship with China. Pakistan not only shares a common imaginary enemy with China, India, but it is also China's best channel to the Middle East. China has a lot of interest in Pakistan. At the most favorable price, or even through technology transfer, Pakistan's army can use the world's advanced technology, which is not only helpful to Pakistan, but also to China itself. Therefore, the pressure has come to India. Judging from the development cycle and delivery of the Tejas fighter, the biggest fighter development joke in human history, AMCA is still a long way from its first flight. As for equipping the army, it may be realized when China's seventh-generation fighter is put into mass production. After decades of research and development, the Tejas fighter has not yet been mass-produced, mainly because its core components such as engines, radars, and fire control systems are all purchased from abroad, and it is difficult to ensure a stable supply. For example, after China banned rare earths and aviation engine parts from the United States' own aircraft production and supply had problems, not to mention the supply of engines to India. After Israel fell into war, it would not give priority to supplying radars to India. As for the Indians' desire to replace imported goods with self-developed parts, it is even more unreliable. Looking at the various jokes about the Arjun tank, you will know that it is more realistic to buy foreign goods for assembly. The biggest possibility is that by the time the Indian Army is equipped with AMCA, Pakistan has already equipped China's sixth-generation fighter jets, or has obtained the technology transfer of the fifth-generation fighter jets from China and can produce them on its own. Then if the Indian Air Force wants to avoid being crushed by the Pakistani Air Force, the only hope is to purchase the fifth-generation fighter jets from abroad. After all, no matter how much India brags about the Rafale, it is only a 4.5-generation fighter jet. Fighting on the battlefield is different from talking nonsense. The advanced performance of the fighter jet and the personal quality of the pilot are very important. If the Indian Army chooses to bid for the fifth-generation fighter jets from abroad, only the United States and Russia are eligible. Because only China, the United States, and Russia have fifth-generation fighter jets on the Earth, and China is obviously impossible to participate in India's bidding. If purchased from the United States, the F-35 is the only option because the F-22 has been discontinued. Due to the large-scale bankruptcy of suppliers, the F-22 production line is difficult to resume, and the U.S. military is also equipped with the F-35. As the fifth-generation fighter with the largest output in the world, the F-35 has obvious advantages. It fully meets the technical standards of the fifth-generation aircraft, has high technological content, mature engine technology, and the whole machine has a longer life than Russian weapons. The disadvantages are also obvious, that is, the maintenance cost is extremely high, and the technical level requirements for the country of use are also very high. As a widowmaker, Hindustan Aeronautics may not be able to perform maintenance tasks. As for the high unit price of F-35, there is no need to worry at all. After all, Indians are willing to spend a sky-high price to purchase Rafale, and purchasing F-35 may be cheaper. However, to purchase F-35, India must agree to many additional requirements of the United States, which is a major feature of U.S. arms sales to foreign countries. For example, India may be restricted from using certain special functions of F-35, establish a confidentiality system, and accept American supervision of the use of aircraft. India also needs to make some reforms at the government level to meet the requirements of the United States. Of course, India can also pay a very high price to let Americans lower their requirements and relax supervision. But the problem is that the current U.S. aviation industry has too many hidden dangers and insufficient production capacity under the tossing of Indian engineers. F-35 is a multinational joint research and development project. It is not only to equip the U.S. military, but also to give priority to those allies who participated in the research and development. Even if India buys it at a high price, it is still unknown when it will arrive. If India chooses to buy Su-57 from Russia, it will face a realistic problem. That is, India betrayed Russia after the outbreak of the Russo-Ukrainian War. Not only did it not help Russia, but it also took the opportunity to lower the price of Russian energy and resell it at a high price. What's more hateful is that the Indians actually chose to pay in rupees, which resulted in Russia being unable to buy anything useful after receiving the money and suffered a dumb loss. If India buys Su-57, it may face the embarrassing situation when it modified the Vikramaditya aircraft carrier, paying a large sum of money to Russia, paying a price far higher than ordinary purchases. After all, for Putin, there is no friendship between Russia and India. Since it is just a business, there is no reason to give the Indians a bargain. In addition, Russia is currently at war with Ukraine, and its military production capacity will give priority to supplying the Russian army to make up for the consumption on the front line. Moreover, Russia is under comprehensive sanctions from the United States, and many key components cannot be obtained. The production capacity of Su-57 cannot even guarantee one per month. I am afraid that it will be difficult for the industry to provide enough production capacity for India. Buying Su-57 will also be a futures transaction. When to get the aircraft depends on luck. Therefore, if nothing unexpected happens, the Indian Army will see that the Pakistani Air Force will be equipped with fifth-generation fighters first and face air supremacy suppression on two fronts, which will definitely be its nightmare. What's more terrifying is that China is producing iterative drones and robot dogs at extremely low prices. After the product performance is stable and the tactical synthesis is mature, China will also deploy these equipment on a large scale on the Sino-Indian border to increase pressure on the Indian Army. Of course, these equipment are much cheaper than J-35, and the Pakistani Army will get them as soon as possible to contain India and combat domestic terrorist organizations. The People's Liberation Army has excluded hundreds of people from the team, carrying drones and robot dogs into Pakistan for actual combat exercises. I believe that this valuable experience will help China's military enterprises obtain data and quickly iterate products. Another bad news is that after a lot of research on the Russian-Ukrainian war, China has restarted the Type 99 tank production line, indicating that China has found a strategy to deal with drones. There is no doubt that the Pakistani Army will also obtain relevant technologies as soon as possible. When facing the Indian Army, the armored forces of China and Pakistan can effectively defend against Indian drones, while the Indian armored forces are difficult to mobilize effectively, which will undoubtedly make the Indian military desperate. Moreover, China's drone technology leads the world, with very low cost and high production capacity. Coupled with various robot dogs, the Indian Army will face the situation of the Polish Army during World War II, using cavalry to fight against German tanks.